What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy from Budget Dad Barbecue and Brewing coming back at you. Today we are going to do some pork spare ribs on our Kamado. Let's get started. This is a 7-pound pork spare rib that I scored from Fred Meyer, also known as Kroger and some other areas. I think I got it for around $9.50, maybe $9.20. So I think that was a solid deal. I couldn't pass that up. I'm not going to do any massive trimming today, but I am going to remove this flap and take the membrane out and maybe make a couple more cuts around here as well. So let's get started. First, we're going to take the flap off. And there we are. Next, let's start to work on this membrane. So now that we got the flap all taken care of, I'm going to go do some last trimming before we make the cut on the ribs itself. And I'll show you how we do this. So if you come down here, so we're essentially going to be going to the third or fourth rib. You can feel where this bend is. And then we're going to make a cut with a knife. I'm not going to use the scissors for this. And we're going to go run parallel to the ribs, so all the way across. But I don't want to let all this go to waste because this is good eating. So what I'll do is, since I already have the scissors right now, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to start doing my trimming right now. And this is, the silver skin and the extra sort of gristle that most likely is not going to render down. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do the best you can. Sometimes the silver skin and things are really tough, and just don't worry about getting too crazy with this here. Just try to remove some of the other stuff. I think I might go ahead and take a boning knife and I might clean some of that up. All right, let's start that cut. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3. Okay, so right around here, and again, you'll feel this bend. All right, what we're going to do is make our cut here. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and season this up. I like my ribs sort of tangy, sweet, so I'm going to start it off with a little apple cider vinegar. I've done this in the past with my other meats. Not a ton, but just a little bit. If I were to guess, it would be probably 1 or 2 tablespoons for this entire thing. And how I imagine this is that the acid starts to get in there and starts to really sort of permeate in the meat. I'm going to do the other side. Okay. Next, I'm going to throw down a little all-purpose seasoning. Next, we're going to throw down some mustard. Last but not least, my barbecue rub. So there you have it. We're done with the seasoning. I'm going to put this back into the fridge. We're going to run a couple errands, go to the grocery store, do some things. So it'll probably be at least 2 hours, maybe 3. I'm not really too worried about how long it's going to sit in there. When I come back, we're going to fire up the Vision grill. We're going to put it between 225 and 250. And I'm going to be using apple and cherry wood chips today, about a 50-50 blend. So we'll see you then. All right, we're dialed in at around 250. I think I'm going to go ahead and put these on, and I'm going to cut the vents just a little bit, so we'll keep it, hopefully it'll probably go down to about 230, 240. If not, if it's 250, that's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I wouldn't really want to get any higher than that. Some people do higher. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. You do what you want. Now, I didn't want to waste anything, so I decided just to take all the extra little cuts and season those up as well. If it doesn't work out, then I'll feed them to Mr. Palmer, right? Not a problem. Okay. That looks pretty good. Bone side is down. Good. I'm going to give it a little bit more rub because you could see there's a few naked spots right here that I want to hit. Okay, we'll close her up. Once I start to see that crust form, then I'm going to start basting it with a little apple cider vinegar, water, apple juice. Hey everybody, it's been about 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. I had some temperature issues. I came out to check it. I should have had a probe in there, but I didn't. And I saw that the barbecue was running at about 200, so that was way lower than I wanted. So I made some adjustments, opened up the vents a little bit, and I got it back up to 240. And we've been rolling pretty steady at there for the last probably an hour and a half. So I'm going to show you what it looks like now. I have not been spritzing it or putting any baste or anything like that, any fluids on it, because it hasn't been drying out at all. And so the Kamado has been keeping it super moist, and I'll show you what that looks like now. Okay, so we're finally starting to see a little bit of a crust here. It was taking a long time, but it's finally starting to kind of, you could see where it's starting to drop. But even right here, look at this. It still has juices, so it still has juices. So I think at this point it's definitely time to put something on there. So I have a little mixture of apple juice, apple cider vinegar, brown sugar, and just like a half a teaspoon of molasses. I don't have a spritzer on me right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just put this on via brush very, very lightly. Trying not to disturb that bark. All right, I'm gonna give it, since we had that little hang up with the drop in temperature, I'm gonna give it probably another half an hour or so. And then once I start to see this bark start to crisp up a little bit, or once I start to see those fluids dry up a little bit and that crust really start to form, then I'll take it back inside and we'll do a quick wrap. Hey everybody, so it has been around a half an hour or so, and I went ahead and took the ribs, brought them inside. We're gonna wrap them real fast. So typically what I'm gonna do is after about an hour, hour and a half, I'm gonna check on it. I'm gonna unwrap it and I'm gonna check it for tenderness just to make sure that my skewer goes through really, really nicely. But I'm not gonna lie, you guys, it's getting late, it's dark, it's cold outside, and I don't really wanna deal with it. So about unwrapping and wrapping and all this sort of nonsense. So what I'm gonna do, knowing that typically the sweet spot is usually around 200 and it could be up to 210, I'm going to set my probe for 208 and I'm going to stick it in there, and then when it rings, then I'm going to go out, just so that I could eliminate any unnecessary checking of this meat. Again, I don't want to have to just go through this over and over again. Does that make sense? Okay, so I took that out. I had a little compound butter that we had left from lunch today that I had in the fridge, so I went ahead and put that on, and then I'm going to show you what else I'm going to do. So check this out. All right, so I've got that garlic compound butter. So you remember that base that we had on this? This was a little brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, applesauce, and let's see, I also put a half a teaspoon of molasses in here just to get a little richness. So I put this in the microwave just to reheat it, just to make sure it dissolved. And then I added another teaspoon of honey, and I'm also gonna take a little early times, and I'm gonna add just a little whiskey to this. Not a whole lot, but just a little dollop, you know, won't hurt, right? And it gives it that nice bourbony sort of smokiness to it. So I'm looking forward to that. This is something I Haven't tried before, so we'll see how it works. But I like early times. It's one of my favorite budgets. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna mix that up, see how that smells. Delicious, so nice. Okay, so I've got that going down. Let's put more. I can't believe it's not buttered down on this thing. Let's make sure it's nice and basted. Okay, get the underside too. Don't want to ignore that. You can see it's already pulling away from the bone. Next, I'm going to sprinkle on a little brown sugar. I'm not going to go too heavy on it. Remember, I already put molasses in there, and brown sugar was already in the baste that I had been putting on here. So I don't want it to be uber sweet. So I think that's plenty. Okay. Then a little bit more of that applewood rub, just to finish it off. Okay, that's beautiful. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour a little bit of that bourbon sauce in here. Let it kind of melt on top. I want to kind of create a steam bath out of this with that butter. That's beautiful. Piece of aluminum. What is it? What does the British say? Aluminum foil. Take the probe. I'm going to stick it in the meat because I don't want to have to check on this. And I'm going to stick that at an angle. You can't see me, but basically I'm sticking it at an angle in that meat. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, that's all she wrote. I'm gonna do that with the other little scrap pieces too, because they're looking like good eating. And we'll probably be back around that hour and a half mark. But really, I don't feel like dealing with it. I'm gonna get a couple things done around the house. And when my phone goes off to show that it's 2:08, then I'll basically open it up and then we'll test it, see how tender it is. All right, see you then. All right, everybody, it's been about 45 minutes to 1 hour. The alarm went off and said that the ribs are at 208 degrees. So with that, I took out my manual thermometer and I probed it a little bit, and it's around 208, 210 in some areas, and it just goes right in, no resistance. I'll show you. You can see right here, I've already have a little hole, but I mean, it just goes right in. I mean, there's like very, very, very little resistance. Let's take these things off of the Kamado. We're gonna put them back into the kitchen and we'll let them rest for about 30 minutes and we'll be back. All right, we're back. It's been about 30 to 45 minutes and we are ready to unwrap these ribs to see what they look like. Let's check it out. Whoa. Juices are flowing. Wow. Okay. All right, wow. Really impressed with how juicy these came out. Okay, let's cut into them. I already know from the temperature probe that there was very, very little resistance, so these are gonna be soft and nice, and oh, the smell is just beautiful. So let's see how they hold up. Okay. Wow. I mean, oh, check it out. Right off the bone. My wife's most hated saying is that when things fall right off the bone. But look at this, you guys. I mean, look at, it's dripping. Check out the smoke ring. That's so nice. All right, I'm gonna bite into this. Wow, that molasses and that bourbon did something different to it. You have your sweetness, you have your smoke, you got your spice, but there's something different on the back end, and it's got some pepperiness to it. And I think that was from putting that all-purpose seasoning. That was a tip from Malcolm, who does the mustard and the seasoning first. So right on to Malcolm from How to Barbecue Right. That was solid. I learned a lot of these different tips and styles from all different cats that I watched, like Harry Sue and the Dog Father, and again Malcolm. So and then kind of just put my own spin on it and made my own. So I'm really, really happy with this. If you guys want to try this out, use your own seasonings, do what makes sense. I just got this because it was $9 and change for a huge 7-pound spare rib, so I wasn't going to pass that up. And I'm really, really pleased. I think I'm going to ask my wife to see if she wants to try some. Do you want me to cut you some off, or you want to just try it? Okay. See what you think.
Oh my gosh.
It's good,
It's
right?
really good. Oh yeah.
It's a seasoning. There's something, I think it's the molasses, and I think it's that bourbon, but I could be wrong. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here that I wanted to do some experiments, and it turned out absolutely great. But I'm going to do it again next time. Check out that smoke ring. I mean, and the juices. I mean, this is just falling apart. Look at, hello. I mean, come on, I'm gonna slice off this little bit and try it, because that's just too good. Okay. I think I need to wash my hands. If I was at a rib place or something, I'd probably have one of those wet, hot washcloths, but I don't have one right now, so I'm not prepared. That's all right. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you learned anything, if you were halfway entertained, please hit that like button, subscribe. If not, that's okay too. I'm not going to judge you. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.